Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Well, hello again, and welcome to We're Going Down the Pub, which in this particular case happens to be the, what pub we're in?
The Eddie, which is very short of
the Edward
the
VII.
still.
Yeah, still, after all this time, it still hasn't got enough
minutes
putty
have
back.
passed by.
Yeah, Simon is here with me.
Greetings.
And we're going to have a look at Kings Lynn Town, the final frontier. Yes, thanks to Richard Tompkins.
Indeed,
for
my
this
word.
He gets about, doesn't he, Richard?
He volunteers the most obscure
Yes, because he does have ones in the southwest. Mangotsfield was his famous one. Down there.
He pretty much lives there, though, doesn't he?
I know, but then he goes to the ends of the earth, and it is pretty much the ends of the earth. Yeah. This is beyond the range of the Flat Earth Society, this lot. Kings Lynn.
Gosh,
but thumbs up anyway, the Husky
chairman. Well done, Richard. He volunteered to drive to East Anglia. This was in the last summer to stake the place out for us.
Did he stake it out? Did he put a fence around it?
Oh, I couldn't. Sure, they wouldn't mind. Their understanding lot there. But he was on a mission to relive his previous visit in 1971 in the FA Cup.
Right. Yes.
Reliving the dream. And we ought to say the Lynn kitman and caretaker, also called Richard, showed him around and looked after him greatly, so thank you, Richard.
Right, so Richard and Richard, two dicks together then, was it?
Oh, there must be... Sorry, I completely lost my thread thinking about that. Dear, oh dear, what an image.
But after that, of course, Richard will have personally visited all the pubs in town.
All the key pubs in the town.
Excellent.
And somehow managed to put together a coherent report afterwards.
Is that what you call this lot we've got in front of us? You call this coherent?
Well, this is the final version, shall we say. Moved on from the prototype a bit.
I know, it's about 7.5 pages.
Yeah. I mean, this game feels big, doesn't it? I mean, we instinctively feel
it does.
It's going to be significant.
Yeah.
We've been to all the other top clubs. Nobody's beaten us. In fact, we've outplayed Kettering and Weymouth and outplayed Tivy for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. But this one feels harder, I suppose, because the ridiculous sequence of games we were enduring.
Which we've had a little bit of a break from because of the Gosport.
I'm sure that helped a bit.
Helped. Well, Beadle said, you could see his comment to the Hereford Times was obviously you could feel the relief in that, thinking, great, this will be just a little
get our
bit
players fit,
Yeah.
And sadly, because Kings Lynn is midweek, which is a bit of a waste, and also because it's just so bloody far away, it feels a bit like going to foreign country.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
You think we should take your passport?
Well, I don't know. You've got to get your visa stamped.
Oh.
Mind you, it's only like going from here to Cradley Heath, really. You'd have to take a visa for that, don't you? And that's only 1.5 miles.
It's a different world in Cradley, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a different world in Kings Lynn as well.
Yeah. But, it's one of those games where I think our support can really make a difference. I think our club needs all the exiles we can get, so it is doable from London on the train, I will say. And if you're based in Cambridge, East Anglia, get over there and join us, because you will make a difference.
Right.
We're going to have to manage without any press coverage from Herefordshire, though.
Why's that now?
Well, apparently producing the sports pages of the Ludlow and Tenbury Advertiser takes priority for the Hereford Times.
On that particular night?
Yes,
on that particular.
That's got to come
are we building up to the North Herefordshire Tiddlywinks Championships or something, which need reporting on specifically on that date, the 30th?
It startles me that, the local press doesn't cover the biggest game in the month for our biggest sports organisation.
He'll cover it, don't worry,
he'll find a way.
He'll have reports every few minutes or so.
Really?
Yes, he will.
It's like magic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's courtesy of either BBC Hereford and Worcester or Radio Hereford FC.
No.
Yes.
Surely not.
Oh, no. We had lovely reports from Weymouth while he was... No, I think he was at Weymouth. Oh, yes, he brought the kids down to Weymouth, didn't he? Wife kids. We had a lovely weekend with Paul down at... Anyway, but there are a few matches. Yeah, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's the way to do it. It's a way... At the moment, the sports department, the Hereford Times, is basically a one-man operation because they've been facing so many cutbacks. And to get the amount of sports coverage in the Hereford Times, that you still get 7 or 8 pages of it, the back of the Hereford Times, I think it's remarkably good going. No, I really do. I mean that.
Okay.
I mean that. I think it's remarkably good going. But you do have to spread yourself a little bit thinly in order to cover it.
Indeed, the Ludlow and Tenbury advertiser. Who knew? Who knew? But anyway,
I didn't even know there was
No.
Ludlow and Tenbury advertising.
Let
Is that 2 papers? Is it a Ludlow advertising
No,
or is it
I
a
think
single
it's
paper?
a single paper covering 2 important towns, Ludlow and Tenbury.
Yeah, which
Strange pairing, really.
is,
Different counties, aren't they?
They're a long way away from each
Yeah.
other.
So there you go. So,
Ludlow and Tenbury. Ludlow and Tenbury. I'm sure that must be 2 papers. Paul will let us know if he ever.
I'm sure he will.
We're going to find out whether he listens to this now.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it's Kings Lynn. I'm going to reel off 3 headline points. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Admission prices are very steep for this league.
16 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Whoa.
you know, we'll have a moan about it a bit later on. Yep.
But is it steep for every match, or do they vary it?
No, it varies. But
Exactly. Okay.
it's okay. Second point, there is sod all car parking because the ground is on the edge of an 18th century park.
Right.
And like most clubs with bigger support, I'm told that Kings Lynn, shall we say, have an idiot element who only come out for big games.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Not all Hereford supporters are model citizens. We know that, but really, I'm just saying, just be careful out there.
Absolutely.
There's a reputation to think about. Okay.
Uh-huh.
A little bit about Kings Lynn. They are, in some ways, they're like us. They are a Phoenix club. The previous club went in the Northern Premier League, which probably explains a lot. Where the hell in Northern Premier League? No wonder.
Well, where would they be if they weren't Northern Premier? They're in the Southern Premier. But
Were you thinking it was the Northern Prem?
they ought to be in the Eastern Premier, and in which there would only be one club.
One club, yeah.
So they'd win it every year, really, wouldn't they? Yeah.
But it was just crazy. But anyway, the new side had to start from step 5 and fight their way back. We're familiar with that scenario, aren't we? They are very, very strong at home, as we probably know. 13 games, 10 wins, 2 draws to Frome and St Ives, and just 1 single defeat by Chesham. Best known player is Michael Gash. We might remember him from Kidderminster. He's played 600 games, scored 170 goals. So
Right.
he's been around a
decent
bit.
player, yeah.
Yep. Manager at the moment is Ian Culverhouse, highly regarded, but for a while they've been thinking that he may be just keeping the seat warm till a better job comes along.
Right.
Now, well, they did mention Cambridge. However, the new Stoke manager, whose name escapes me at the moment,
Right.
Culverhouse has always worked with him. He's always been his number 2,
right,
so
okay.
he may be going off to Stoke. But we'll wait and see on that.
Now, it is a proper football ground. this, though,
Indeed,
isn't
that's
it?
exactly.
It really is.
Yep. Now it's got a raised grandstand on one side with 1,100 seats.
That's a lot of seats.
That's a lot of seats for this level, isn't it? There's a huge covered terrace on the opposite side and open terracing behind the goal. Now, here's a curiosity. The original seats in the grandstand were sold to Hereford United when they were promoted to the Football League.
But presumably we've still got them then.
I presume they must be in what we still call the main stand.
Yeah.
Curious, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're sitting on.
But we do have different coloured ones, blue and red,
Yeah.
don't we? Perhaps when we get there, we'll have to see whether their seats are blue or red, and we'll
I'm just
know.
thinking there's been
And if
Kings
if we've got any broken ones, George, perhaps you could let us know, and we may be able to arrange
Take them
some
back.
replacements if there's room on the team coach.
I'm sure they'll understand. Yeah. Okay. The Linnets gates this season, they're up 31% on last year, but that's up as in 700. They've now got 717 average coming through the turnstile.
Right.
4th highest in the division.
Now that sounds reasonable, but it's a huge ground.
It is. It's peas in the drum syndrome for me, really. I've seen various capacity estimates. Some say 6,000, some say 8,000.
Okay, so it's similar capacity to Edgar Street would be if
Would
it was
be.
four-sided
Yeah,
ground
yeah.
still, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, 700 in a ground that big, I could only liken it to, say, the 500 we get for the Herefordshire Senior Cup.
Right, yeah,
And think how
yeah.
quiet and isolated that feels.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a thundering hotbed of noise. So there you go. Disabled access, no problems with disabled access. The ramps to toilets and ramp viewing area, all those sort of things taken care of, okay? We anticipate there'll be some segregation, unfortunately, but we want to get the information out now because it's one of those trips that needs early planning, particularly thinking about staying overnight, you know. We did touch on the very bad news. Admission is £16 for seats, £13 for old farts, and £1 less for the terraces.
That is steep for this league.
It is, isn't it? The prices are £3 higher than their standard.
Yeah.
I gave him the option.
Basically, there's some line about having security issues, which frankly we don't buy very much, do we?
No.
You know, we've been places where we've had over 1,000 supporters, and then not seen necessary to put the prices up. They're grateful that we turn up.
I'd just say under 11s are free, but that's sod all use in midweek, really.
Exactly. It's a school week, so you know, you're not good. But the normal procedure is to buy a ticket from a ticket window.
So it's same ticket,
yeah. So you might need to be aware of that.
Okay.
Now they do have a clubhouse, but bear in mind this could be one of those hear what we could have had.
Right, because they were likely to have something else.
I would imagine so. Yeah, it's called the Linnet Lounge at the end of the grandstand, very large, and Sky TV, IPA, Carlsberg, Summersby cider, whatever that is. And Richard does recommend the Bellhaven Stout.
Right.
At £3.50 a pint.
I do remember him recommending a Natch cider.
Oh gosh, yes.
At Mangotsfield, he recommended that, and it was on the dry side.
It was like drinking liquid sandpaper, wasn't it? You could feel it rubbing your throat.
It was, folks out there. It was on the dry side of dry, wasn't it? Really? We said you should rename it Atacama. After
Yay.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway.
Now, again, Richard said excitedly, it has excellent beef burgers.
How would he know?
Well,
would they put some specially on for him in his summer trip?
well, you do wonder, don't you? But apparently one of the directors has catering connections. Sounds filthy,
right, okay.
but so he supplies as Richard says, the local prime Norfolk produce.
Right.
Okay, cheeseburger with onions apparently was succulent, so yes, perhaps he did try one.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps it was a pre-season friendly he went to or something. Then.
Oh, it could have been.
Yeah, it
couldn't
might have been. Yeah.
Sausage rolls at £2.50. They've actually got meat in them, which is a novelty. But, you know, realistically, we may only get some tatty old chipper van, which turns up at the 11th hour, and you have to bring your own spoon and bread. Who knows, you know? Like, not quite going to get the slough, but there you go.
Was it?
I mean,
that wasn't even one van, was it?
Well,
One and a half stopped van.
You probably didn't see it, Frank, but by the second half, they were serving bare sausages in plastic cups. That's all they got left.
Were the plastic cups tasty? I bet you they were better than the sausage.
Well, and I suppose just looking at them, bewilderment, thinking, what the hell do we do with this? Okay. The other problem at the ground, there isn't any parking unless you're a blue badge holder. And there's 20 spaces, which seems quite a lot, but there you go. As far as I can tell, there's no obvious side street parking. They've only got one narrow road by the ground, and there seems to be double lines as far as I can tell. Nearest car park, which is St James Hospital, is permits only. Now, so if you drive into this one, the club can only suggest using the town centre car park, such as St James's car park in Clough Lane, and you know that's a minimum of £4. Now the club says 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The internet search engines I look at says you reckon 15. So Richard said split the difference, 10 minutes. But it's a bit of a nuisance in a strange dark town that you're not familiar with.
But curiously, along Blackfriars Street.
Yes, that's
interesting,
curious, isn't it? Yeah, very curious, making feel people at home. But the only advantage I can see is if you are early and you want a pre-match pint, you can do it in the town centre. Yeah.
Right.
Now, you know, good old Richard, he toured all of the major pubs.
As you do.
You know, he was thinking in terms of a Saturday, Sunday weekender, but for a mournful midweek, we're just going to mention the bare highlights. There's a pub opposite the station called the Fenman.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
For a pub in the Fens.
Yes, it's
the
not
Fen
bad,
Man,
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've forgotten to stock any real ale, unfortunately, but
Right.
it is very, very convenient. If you do have time, the gem is the Crown and Mitre in Ferry Street. 5 real ales, including offerings from Adnams, Cotley, Elgoods and Old Mill Brewery. and Snaith. I'm not familiar with all of those, but they do sound interesting. It's one of those oldie worldy bars. Mysteriously, it's got a model of HMS Victory in it, and an electric model of an American steam engine, circa 1971. So if you ever wanted to see one of those...
1941.
Sorry, 41.
Get your steam engine facts right before you come on this show, Simon. We'll not have... 1941. That's just before 20 to 8, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
right.
that is as well.
Right. Distance by road.
Yeah, I would say it's an alarming 175 miles.
Less for us.
Yes, like country folks, that's about 130 for us.
Yeah. Train.
Now, yes.
The word you've got here is hopeless.
Right, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I seem to be missing that page, so you better carry on.
Yeah, you say
okay. Yeah, I'm missing. Yeah, hopeless. Can do it from London, but do bear in mind that the train doesn't reach King's Cross Station. That's on the way home until 1 o'clock in the morning, so you might not be keen.
Yeah.
Station's just a 5-minute walk across the park.
Right.
So that's doable. I'm going to go by Reg.
Well,
and you really do want to go by Reg for this trip.
You do, yeah.
He's leaving at noon. He's having a two-hour stop en route.
Yeah.
25 quid.
That's bad. That's good. With the
It
2 hour
is, really.
stop. I wonder where the 2 hour stop will be. Somewhere interesting, or you would hope.
Yeah, he hasn't named it. I think it's the Hungry Horse, but it's
that's all right.
It's on this Facebook page.
Sell it cheap, and the beer will be half decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's jolly good. Well, that's a trip we don't want to make, but then
no, exactly.
With any luck, it'd be waterlogged, and we can go there in April instead.
Yeah, well,
it'd be rather nice. But anyway,
had it been any other game, I would say, Sodger, we're not going, but because of the prices. But it's such an important game, we've got to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So if you leave on the Monday and plan to get back sometime on the Friday night, you make a good trip of it.
Yeah,
and you might get there on time then. Well, that's excellent stuff. Thank you for that, Simon. We'll catch up with you again when we will look at a February away match. We've actually done all the January ones now, so we'll have a look at next time. We'll have a look at some of our February matches. We'll catch up with you again very, very soon.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.